Welcome to Technovation. I'm your host, Peter High. My guest today is Yasir Anwar. Yasir is the Chief Technology Officer and Chief Digital Officer of Williams-Sonoma, a specialty retailer of high-quality home products representing a house of brands, which include Williams-Sonoma, Pottery Barn, West Elm, and Mark and Graham, among others. Prior to Williams-Sonoma, Yasir was the Senior Vice President and Head of Digital Technology at Macy's. In this interview, we discuss Williams-Sonoma's digital transformation and how Yasir has helped build a future-proof business model for the company that was able to not only withstand, but grow during the pandemic. He talks about the responsibilities that he holds both as Chief Technology Officer and Chief Digital Officer, and what it means to the company to be digital first. Yasir details how the company is focused on creating a frictionless customer experience, how digital and technology play a role in in-house design, and how Williams-Sonoma balances centralization with independence between brands. Finally, we discuss what Yasir sees as the most salient trends in technology and digital coming out of the pandemic. If you enjoy Technovation, please consider reading my new book, Getting to Nimble: How to Transform Your Company into a Digital Leader. The book is available now on Amazon or wherever you buy books. As a special offer to our CXO listeners, if you purchase books for your team, I'd be happy to join your team for a group discussion on it. To learn more, write us at information@metastrategy.com or visit gettingtonimble.com. Thank you. Yasir Anwar, welcome to Technovation again. It's great to speak with you.
Hi, Peter. Thank you. Great to talk to you again. It's been some time we have talked.
Exactly. And for that reason, especially, I'm looking forward to this, knowing some of the great things you've been doing in your new environment. Well, let's talk about that. You are the Chief Technology Officer and Chief Digital Officer of Williams-Sonoma. And I wonder if you could take a moment for those who may be less familiar with the totality of the business. Talk a bit about Williams-Sonoma and the broader portfolio of brands that are part of the company.
Yeah, that's a great question to begin with. I think some people interact with all of our brands. Some people our customers interact with some of our brands. So I think it's good to understand that Williams-Sonoma, in fact, is a house of powerful brands, and 7 of them. And they include our namesake brand, Williams-Sonoma, then Williams-Sonoma Home. We have West Elm, then we have Pottery Barn. We have got Pottery Barn for teen, Pottery Barn for kids. We have got Mark and Graham, and we've got Rejuvenation. So you can see it's a house of powerful brands. And the key is that we are, as this company, we're not just serving products to the customers. We are actually serving a lifestyle. That's what differentiates us from other brands. Another thing, if you look at the mission of the company itself, is like we are the world's largest digital-first, design-led, and sustainable home retailer, right? So for that, you have to bring the whole world together to serve the customer needs. And we take, pride in top 3 things, which is, our goals for the company. One is the in-house design, and we feel very proud about that, and we can talk more about that as well. Then digital-first strategy, and then the values of the company, be it sustainability, be it user-friendliness, be it equity. So that's in a nutshell. From a company and brand perspective, we are, and we can definitely, I would like to go and share a little bit about the in-house design differentiation or digital first strategy. But before that, we can also talk about the growth pillars of the company. As the results, we just came out of the Q4, great, stunning results from the Q4 consecutive results throughout 2020. That our big growth pillars are e-com, and then business to business, B2B, marketplace, global expansion, and our emerging brands.
Well, congratulations. It really has been remarkable just to see the growth of the company, to see the stock performance over the course of the past year and earlier, but especially meaningful in the past year, given the fact that this has not been uniformly a good period for retailers. Before we get into some of the specifics, and I definitely want to dive further into your mission and the in-house design, the digital-first strategy, just as you say. Before we do, though, I'd love to get a little bit more definition around your role. I mentioned at the outset the dual parts of your title, Chief Technology Officer, as well as Chief Digital Officer. I might add that for the first period with the firm, for about a year, you were just the Chief Technology Officer and added the Digital Officer responsibilities in late 2018. Talk a bit about the 2 sides of that and what each entails, please.
Yeah, and I think I would start with the say that these responsibilities are actually merging, and hence the title merging as well. Because if you remember, sounds like history, the title of CIO, where it was typically very different KPIs and outcomes the CIO was held responsible for, majorly reporting, data center, large enterprise projects and stuff. But that gives a fractured view if you do not have a holistic leadership and a view, a single pane of glass for the customers, because they do not care what happens in your backend systems versus front end systems. They need a single pane of glass. You need to have a frictionless experience. So I think from that emerges the concept of having a single CTO and a CDO who is not only just focused on technology projects in isolation, but it's all about outcome. Like, why are we doing a project? It always have to start with the customer experience. So I think this is the merger of the technology strength, powered and coupled by customer experience, digital experiences, and the power of digital that has been unleashing in the world as we speak, as we have gone through years and years, and now it's even shrunk. It has gone even much faster. The COVID has done a give propulsion to the digital transformation. So that's what the role entails. It entails all of the technology, all of the IT, all the traditional, all the modern systems, but also a very hyper focus on customer experience.
That's excellent. Well, and it's no coincidence then, as you mentioned, among the areas that are focal for you is a digital first strategy. Maybe we begin there among the things that you mentioned earlier. Talk a bit about what that entails. What does it truly mean to be digital first?
Yeah, digital first. From a results perspective, I would say that a company which also has stores, we have a 70% e-commerce revenue penetration. That's big for a brand or a group of brands of our size, for a company of this size. So that the results speak for themselves, that we have been hyper focused on making sure we meet the customer where they are. And within digital also, there are different digital, not only just means e-commerce, it also means omni, it also means phygital, it also means providing different paths and channels to the customers to shop from. And it also means how do we continuously improvise our digital experience, and primarily e-commerce, of course, from across all of our websites. How do we provide cross brand shopping experiences? How do we allow customers to digitally design their homes online and through our designers? So it's like the whole I would say the range horizon of all the things that are needed to provide some excellent digital touch points to the customers and engagement points to the customers. Primarily, I can say, things like in the very recent past and in the future, what we are planning is like big and have done is like a big re-platform, for example, of our e-commerce stack, right? So now we're building and already finishing a global multi-tenant platform, which we already had a modern e-commerce platform. Now we're building on top of not just microservices, but micro front ends, which would allow us to have more nimble, small, modular services. That the first thing it does, it allows you to have a faster go to market. Now you're not dealing with a larger code, and that platform serves across all of our brands, and now it's going to serve all of our global needs as well. So that itself brings cost of ownership and time to market for testing out and rolling out features much faster. So that gives us that competitive edge. And with 7 brands, it inherently gives us this I would say we're like a crucible of innovation and testing, because we can test in a safe harbor approach certain ideas, thoughts, or features on one brand, and give it a soak time, understand the customer signals, and based on that curate what we put it for the first brand, and then try to roll it out to other brands. So it allows us to do that kind of experimentation, which is uniquely available with our family of brands. So that, and then e-commerce, like you would say, for design experiences which we are building. We have Outward as a company which we acquired. That's core forte is about 3D visualization and providing photorealistic images of our assets. And now we have converted all of our imagery, all of our assets into that format, which has allowed us to give us this foundation. Based on that, now we have created immersive experiences in the form of Room Planner, which a tool which we have given to our associates, our great designers, that goes to the first part of the in-house design and the focus on that. And then there is a bridge with having the same room planners available to the customers online. And what it does, it allows you to, in a space in your room, in the entire house, you can design and drop furnitures from different brands. It's a cross-brand tool. and it allows you to design your home, your room, to the point where the customer is comfortable doing it, and where the point where they need expert help. That's where our in-house design crew comes in, and they kick in, they help the customer, and at that time they help with the design and the tool, outside the tool, and try to complete the journey of home designing for our customers. So that's that's some of the aspects of I would say digital first strategy. And again, it is also based on, if you will, great storytelling, curation of the content, relevant content, and it is all powered by all the technical changes and improvements which we have made, whether it's search engine, whether it's recommendations engine. And one thing, it would be worth mentioning, that we were so focused and hyper focused have been on customer experience and to innovate with the customers, that instead of using off the shelf testing and experimentation tools, we went in and built our own experimentation tool, a platform which we call Test Kitchen. The name goes with the brand. And with this, we can run at any given time, capable of running hundreds of tests across the brands. And that gives us this, I would say, micro control on trying and testing features for the customers. And it has been a big revenue generator for us from an e-commerce and digital revenue perspective.
Fascinating. And it really seems to tie with what you've described as your mission of building a world of possibilities for our business and our customers. I'm hearing you talk about putting the necessary ingredients in place to facilitate this in the channel that the customer chooses, or even the employee, your colleague, chooses as well. Is that a fair connection to make?
Oh yeah, that's the sort of a simple but very, I would say, open-ended goal or mission I put for my team, is to build a world of possibilities for our business and our customers. And if it could change, it could bring in newer things and innovation every month, every week, every year. And that's what we have been heads down focused on since I've been on this journey with Williams-Sonoma for 3 years. So yes, I think it's really been like putting that mission into real work, and providing different opportunities, different channels to shop, even during this COVID times, the curbside pickup, the optimization of our buy online, pickup in store, but at the same time scaling to buy online and ship to store and ship from store. And ship from store is like literally converting your stores as like fulfillment hubs as part of your supply chain network. Not an easy operational task to do. And our operational teams and technology teams came together and built that solution. And there's a lot more to go in that space. But we're trying to look at possibilities, every possible place, and we are in a very I would say hyper focused manner, looking at the entire customer journey and the e-commerce funnel, and micro segments, trying to experiment and test, remove the friction for the customer, and provide them better choices and options so they can come and shop with us.
That's what a great overview that is. I want to just tie a loose end that you offered a little bit earlier in terms of the sanctity of in-house design and the role that technology and digital plays in bringing that to life as well. Can you just go into a little bit more depth into the vision there, please?
Oh yeah, sure. I think that is one of such a big strength, and any discussion would not be complete if we don't talk about our in-house design. So as you know, in the company's mission, it's like we are largest digital first, design-led and sustainable home retailer. It's all compacted together in this in-house design experience. So one is, it starts with, how do we design our products compared to many other marketplaces which are also selling home furnishing items? They are procuring those items, they're sourcing those items from different vendors across the world, but they do not own the design of those products. That is a big differentiator for Williams-Sonoma. We have resident here in United States at our home, very high quality, very high performing, passionate, inspirational designers who are working on every brand, who are working on every season. So we design everything, and then we work with either our in-house manufacturing locations, which we have here in US. So we make in America, and then we also go to our partners wherever we need to get the quality, diversity of design, manufacturing. But we own that journey end to end. We design it. We have very good, quality checks. We have a big sourcing team, a vertically integrated supply chain that works across the globe and make sure that the quality, the values of that product. More importantly, I think it's very important to call out, how we differentiate with others. That with this in-house design feeling, we're not only just looking for the look and feel of the product, but we are looking for the quality of the product. What is it made of? What kind of cotton has been used? What kind of foam has been used? What kind of wood has been used? What kind of colors have been used? So like, certified green products, in even to the point that we also validate and check that our partners or vendors are treating their workforce in an equity manner and not mistreating them. So we do not work with companies and vendors where we find that there is a mistreatment of their labor and their people. So it's like a holistic quality control of values through our in-house design. So it gives us control on our in-house design. And then we also have tools like I was sharing, our outwards room planner that allows you to design. So one is what we design by our designers at home. Then once that is available, and then we put it on our websites and our stores, how do we enable designing through our designers that are sitting in our stores in different locations, who are experts in designing homes using the products which were designed by our in-house designer. So like a whole ecosystem which we have stitched together, which is so unique in the industry. And I don't think there is a company that could claim that they have such a deep ownership of the design, freshness of the design, and then the quality of the design.
Very interesting. I appreciate that overview, Yasir. One of the things that's very interesting also is the cultural change that you've led. The team you're leading now is different from the team that you found when you joined the company more than 3 years ago. Talk a bit about that change and what was necessary to upgrade in order to breathe life into this broader mission that you've described.
Yeah, I think the key, as you know, I would say the transformation which we have gone through so far was based on two basic pillars. If you zoom out and look at a high level, one was migrating from a culture of managers managing managers to a culture of experts leading experts. Then number two is a culture that is, or a shift, cultural shift rather, from output to or to outcome. So instead of people focusing on output, how do you focus on the results, on the outcome, and then experts leading? It's so important because when you have experts leading experts type of culture at every layer in your organization, be it senior leaders, VPs, SVPs, all of those people, that becomes a culture of value add. That how do you add value and not just be a pass through in the chain? So the quality of the product that comes out with all those people who are incentivized and motivated to perform in that particular manner brings up the overall product cost of ownership, efficiencies, operating margins, all those things sort of bubble up, or I would say they get reinforced when you have that culture. So that's like a big cultural thing at a very high level. Now that requires so many other constructs to happen. It's acquisition of talent. It's also investing in the existing talent and raising the bar on them. Again, when we say experts meeting experts, since my team is primarily in digital and technology, it was about how do we make one of the best retail technology team. And I think I feel proud that the transition from a retail company as traditionally we were to we have already migrated into a phase of retail tech. Means now we are a hybrid which is so focused, and our business is completely running on the rails of technology, from a concept where technology was a support function, as it still exists for many companies. So we're into this retail tech journey now, from a typical retail, and our goal in the next few years is to go to tech retail, where tech even more front loads the business propulsion and growth.
That's a very compelling overview. Appreciate that. I also wanted to ask you about the ways in which you found synergies across the business. In the very first response to my first question about that overview of your business and the many brands that are a part of it, historically, the brands, if I recall correctly, have been allowed to do a lot of things independently. And no doubt there's still some aspects in which they do, but you're also finding greater levels of synergy across the broader business, if I understand correctly. Talk a bit about that, if you would.
Yeah, that's true. And I think we do respect the sanctity of the brands and what particular niche they support or which niches they are growing into, right? So if you look at, we are a lifestyle family of brands. We have Pottery Barn Kids and Teen. They cater to the kids and the teen and the intersection of that. Then we have West Elm, which is very heavily millennial focused brand, or millennial thinking type of people are focused on that. Then we have got a larger Pottery Barn brand. Then we got a Williams-Sonoma home. So if you look at it, these brands are serving different facets or the parts of the entire lifestyle, and I think each of them provide a unique value to complete that picture for a family, for a household, because at some point you have a newly born and you need a registry and you need to buy a crib, a safe crib for your kid, and that kid grows into a toddler and then becomes a teenager and all that. So we cater to all of that. So that brings this diversity, and it's also a challenge at the same time. How do you make sure that all these brands are also working in cohesion to keep the spirit of this serving the lifestyles together? So we do allow this, I would say, this independence of design thinking and what they do, and we reinforce that thinking by doing certain things in a centralized manner. For example, our stores team, even though every brand you go to store and you will see some differences which are needed based on the merchandise, based on the brand you're going in, but our stores team is a centralized team which works across all the brand store operations. Our care center team is centralized because we learn so much from each the brands, and improve one brand from the other, right? So it's like so much learning within the family. And then our supply chain is amazingly vertically integrated supply chain, and again, besides efficiencies, which is like a no-brainer, but it brings in so much value there. And then coming to my function, which is technology and digital, we are also serving all of the brands in a very, very integrated, centralized way. And one example is I was sharing that if you have brands which are running on different platforms, different versions, there is a ton of cost. And then you've tested something great in one brand, you can't go live in another brand because there are so much nuances. So if you look at our technology stack, so to say, 85%, up to at least 85% of our technology stack is common for all the brands. Now we are also going global with that. So the capabilities which I'm going to build once, I can use it across all the brands. A learning which I can get that a particular feature in a test is not working for a brand, I may test with a couple of other brands of different nature and make sure that is it going to sort of sync with one brand family or not, or it is not going to work across, right? So I think there is so much things. We have a loyalty program. Our key loyalty program is across the brand. Our outward design tool is across the brand. So there are so many things. It's like the whole ecosystem, we're keeping it together in the right medium that doesn't stop the brands to grow on their own and keep expressing their character of the design, but we are actually it's a helpful support system through these vertically integrated services and departments.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I love that description, and almost counterintuitive relative to how so many others run their businesses. But you describe, of course, the great advantages for that for going against the grain and being more independent minded as a collective. Really interesting. I wanted to talk a bit further about the impact of COVID. You talked about the dramatic ramping up, generally speaking, of your organization towards e-commerce and digital platforms and making for a compelling experience digitally, just as you do in your stores themselves. Talk a bit about what some of the lessons and some of the maybe even silver linings of the past year. No one would have wished this upon anyone, of course, on all of us, this grand experiment we've been going through. But it strikes me that you've done a number of things. In fact, you did a number of things without, of course, knowing that this was what was going to befall us, that have paid great dividends for the organization by way of resilience, but also even growth during the trying times of the pandemic.
Indeed, yeah, it's a unique situation for all of us, right? And as they say, it's like everybody is going through the same storm, but on different types of ships, right? So we're all going through it. It's just like how we looked at it and how we approached towards this headwind. And it was a very big unknown for everyone in the beginning. If I talk about the same time last year, it was a very big unknown of what is going to happen. right? And I think in those unknowns, certain values really work well, no matter what the time is, right? One is the belief, having a positive belief of things. Then I think the pillars on which I was focusing with my teams was focus, empathy, right, and and agility. On top of it was this belief of optimism. So right, with these four pillars we operated, we held each other together even through Zooms, right, virtually, and made sure that we have this empathy and understanding of how things are going. So that, I think, culturally that helped us great. We entered COVID, like pre-COVID, we were already having a deep penetration for e-commerce, which is 58%. Now that itself tells you that how prepared we were in terms of taking a lot more eyeballs to our websites and let them shop, which was not true for many other companies because their penetration and readiness operational, one is the taking the demand, Peter, but one is also serving, doing the customer service, supply chain fulfillment. And as I shared with you, our vertically integrated supply chain, that we had that strength, global supply chain available. But our websites were ready. We didn't have to do much to kind of let like the peaks which we used to have every year, that was happening throughout the COVID. So we were operating literally in a peak mode, and the teams were ready, the infrastructure was ready, the websites were ready, the supply chain fulfillment operational teams were ready. So I think that belief, that working and the readiness, investment in technology, having a technology stack which I talked and shared about, all those sort of I would say levers available to you to turn on, knobs to be turned on, turned down, turned up, the flexibility and nimbleness of our platform definitely helped us a lot. And like others, we also were faced with supply chain challenges during the COVID, as the delays in shipments, even locally in domestically, the price of shipments and all that. And I'm so proud of our Williams-Sonoma teams, the leadership and technology team, that we partnered with the operations team, and we provided world of possibilities here again, like as an example, where we were able to quickly build solutions to integrate with other alternate providers, local providers for last mile delivery, and that allowed us to keep delivering and shipping a lot more goods and lot more valuables to our customers compared to many other things. So we definitely got a good market share through the COVID, by natural ramp up of the e-commerce shopping, but also taking the market share of the people who could not sustain and deliver and were not ready for that. And I think that trend continues. Now, I would say, like it's my personal point of view, that with this newfound love of home, people have done, right? Some people did not even know what to live in home for 3 months mean, right? And what would they need to live at peace at that thing. So, right. So it's whether it's furniture, whether it's our, kitchen, Williams-Sonoma brand, right? Cooking. And cooking is not something like, I would say that, once you fall in love in cooking and doing things, that you would just abandon it after like a switch is turned on, right? So these things are going to continue. Some of these habits are going to continue. And we were able to perform when our stores, like any other place, because they were shut down for a period of time, then we kept, and now our stores are coming back, showing positive comps. So I think it's a win-win situation at this time, and we feel very confident as a Williams-Sonoma total leadership team that we have got all the ingredients for building the greatest recipe for home furnishing market.
Well, it's a remarkable story indeed, and one of resilience and an ability to take advantage of the many seeds you planted prior to this crisis that have paid off tremendously during it. Very inspiring. I wanted to also just circle back and ask you a bit about trends as you look to the future now, Yasir. An uncertain one, certainly. We don't know exactly when the current crisis will end, when some modicum of normalcy will return, even what form that will take, how normal will the normal be. But nevertheless, as you think about trends going forward, what are some that particularly excite you?
I think I'm always passionate about data. And it's like information. I consider it like business currency if you really use it well. If you do not know how to use it well, it could be a waste. It could even hurt you. So I've been very passionate about data practices, and here at Williams-Sonoma, even like, and again, this was in like for the past 3 years and stuff, we have brought in heightened focus on data and use of data. And I do not like to use the word data lakes, because the lakes inherently have stagnated water, and that is not fresh. So I would rather use the word data factory. And we focused on building a very strong data factory, integrating data from different points. For such kind of a large global operation, it's tough to stitch things where data is not only created in your own sort of a backyard, but it is also created outside through the third party vendors, manufacturers, and how do you stitch it all together? So that's the foundation of it. But I am really passionate about how do you put the machine learning and artificial intelligence to work. In absence of commoditization and scale of machine learning, you always had to build big data, and then you would figure out in the next 5 years which part of the data was useful. Now with the AI and ML, you can start with hypothesis in AI ML world, and then you can curate data needed to feed those AI ML models, and then keep incrementally building your data. So I think that has given so much flexibility, and from an architecture and feasibility perspective, that you could apply things. And you start with AI ML, you start with the outcome. I want to do X, Y, and Z, and it's going to change my business this way. And you can start and then you set up data, whatever the minimal set of data is needed, and run your algorithms, run your models, and the models themselves will tell you to get accurate, to get better predictions. They need this much more data, whether it's duration of data, volume of data, size of data, or also dimensions of data. So we can quickly learn and do it. So I think that, as you know, AI ML is not just about my business and here, it's just in the world. It's revolutionizing, whether it's medical science, whether it's hospitality, no matter what you talk about, it's there. So I think that is a very strong trend that is coming and is already happening. And our goal at Williams-Sonoma is also not to miss any relevant trend from a AI ML perspective and use it. Now, 3D visualization is an important aspect, right? And the world has been focusing in the past 6-7 years on, I would say, the AR and VR experiences in the application, while the key construct of it is to be able to have as many assets you have of your products converted to a 3D format so you can show them in that format. So I'm so glad that we focus on that part. And we acquired a company which is, it's an IP, it's a patented technology we have got, which is again powered by AI and ML, that allows you to extrapolate one design into 27 or 100 or thousands of design through use of AI ML. And we can convert photorealistic images of like millions of those at scale in a self-serve model. So I think that itself is another trend which we caught nicely, and we're doing. So data, AI ML, and then 3D visualization, 3D photography, that aspect I think is coming. And then mobile, right? As you know, mobile IoT, it's like everybody's on the mobile device. How do you make sure you're providing best of your experiences on the mobile devices? And that has also been our focus. But all of these things need continuous investment. You cannot say I'm done with year 1 project or year 2 project and you feel good about it. You should never feel good about it. You should always have this hunger of keep trying and testing and learning.
Well, yeah, Yasir Anwar, thank you so much for an extraordinary conversation detailing the work that you and your team have done across multiple years now, the benefits you are reaping for that investment, your vision for the future, quite a compelling one, and a taste of what's to come for all of us as consumers of retail, at least in the vision that you have at Williams-Sonoma. It's been a very compelling conversation.
No, thank you, and thanks to my team, honestly, and my all my peers and my CEO and everyone with the belief in the mission and supporting that mission. With that, we have come so long ways, and I think we have long ways to go. And just I get excited more and more every day, and looking at all the things that are coming down the pipe, and the team I've got. So proud of all of that, and thanks for the great chat.